By the way, Rod, that hood behind you?
Yeah.
Well, what car is that?
That is from an '07 Z06 Corvette.
Nice.
I put a carbon fiber hood, a vented carbon fiber hood on it. So I thought that one was just laying around. It would look good on the wall.
Yeah, of course. Last month I met a guy who likes to make his own carbon fiber in his garage.
Oh, yeah?
Wow. And he made intake for his C6 Corvette.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
That's sweet.
I'm like, man, so what's your goal with this? Oh, eventually I want to have my own shop where I can just take orders for custom parts people want from carbon fiber, and I make them here and ship them out to them. I was like, that's genius. Put me down.
Yeah, that's some hard work,
Was
too.
it woven fiber, or was it...
takes some talent.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like the look of that stuff a lot.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to Untitled Car Project. I'm Rob Spring. I've got Joshua Davis in studio with me today. Hello, Josh.
Hey, what's going on, man?
And I've got remote Jeremy Molt and
Yes, sir.
Ian Fike. Guys,
Hello,
how
good
are
to
you?
be back.
And on the line, we've got Jesus Garcia. Jesus, I am so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us.
No, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It was great.
You bet. You bet. I'm excited about it. I have been doing a little research on your background, and you're a busy guy. You're a really busy guy, man. You've got a lot of irons in the fire. It seems like some interesting projects, interesting things that you are writing about. You're an automotive journalist. Who do you mostly write for?
At the moment, I write for the Houston Chronicle. I do a weekly column on their print and online paper every Monday. And last year in April, they asked me, "Hey, we're going to start in a new automotive section in the business part of the paper." And they asked me, "We saw your website. You can write for us?" And I was like, "Definitely." And it's funny because I started writing some opinion pieces, interviews with like stunt drivers and people in the industry, and people. I was like, "No, we just want to know about cars, do car reviews." I was like, "Okay, fine with me." So I do one car review every week.
Oh, wow. That leaves you a fair bit of time to do some other things then, I guess?
Absolutely. I started my career with my website, which is, Jesus Behind the Wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where car reviews, news, what's going on in the automotive industry. I'm also kind of a film buff, so I like writing about stuff like, related to cars, like the best movie cars, the best top cars in TV and movies and all that kind of stuff. It's funny because people ask me, I do a lot, but everything that I do revolves around cars. I also do digital design and web comics, and they're all automotive related, of course. And I love it, man. That's why people ask, "How you doing?" It's like, I just live the dream, because I grew up wanting to just in high school tell everybody, I want to work with cars. Like, like a mechanic? It's like, no, something else. Something more
almost
been doing it.
on, yeah.
I grew up watching Top Gear, and I saw that in high school, and I was like, how did they get to that level? It's like, oh, they wrote about cars? Oh, I'll just do that.
Yeah, see if you can get there one day. I mean, you're well on your way. You're not very old either. You're in your mid-20s?
I only look at, I'm actually 32.
Oh, well, shoot, you're not far off of the 20s.
Still pretty young, man.
Yeah, still pretty young, for sure. How did you end up getting into writing for the paper to start with and that kind of stuff? Like, did you have a passion for writing, or it was more of a means to get where you wanted to be?
It's funny because it also kind of started in high school, because you write school newspapers, essays, research papers, and to me, that always seemed very easy to me. I never thought that, it's because I like to write. I just thought of it, it's just something easy. Like people that are good at math, they don't think about it, they just do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was in college when one of my professors told me, "Hey, how come you don't pursue this? How come you don't write for the newspaper or like that?" And I was like, mostly because I never thought about it until you just told me right now and gave me the idea. And so I started writing for college newspapers, and then my editors always told me, "It's like your style is very conversational. You should start applying for like magazines and stuff like that, because you're not going to make it as a journalist." I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't want to be a journalist anyways. So I started applying for websites and magazines. And when I was in college, my last year, I joined a group called the Texas Auto Writers Association. Okay. And that was my way to get credibility and get FaceTime with PR people from automotive manufacturers and be like, "Hey, look, this is who I am. This is my website. Can I get a car for a press loan to write a review about it?" And that's kind of I was like 23 at the time.
Yeah.
And that really got as far as, okay, now people who are the gatekeepers that say, yes, here's a Toyota, here's a Mazda, write about it, produce content. They got to actually meet me, and I got to kind of get a jump start in my career as an automotive journalist.
Oh, that's awesome.
And,
Awesome.
and there's different avenues. Like some people can do it through YouTube, and they're really creative at doing that videos. I love making videos, but I don't like being in front of the camera, so I like the written. But this was way before all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, I mean, you can just be a TikToker, and you get access to Rolls Royce and Bentleys, depending on who you're following. But, you know, different strokes.
I guess.
I like the way I've been doing it in my...
Yeah. It's kind of a niche field, it seems like, too, especially for the TikTokers or the social media journalists, I guess we'll call them that. It appears from the outside to be difficult to get into those positions, but I have no idea, and that's fine. I am where I am. Pretty interesting, though. Yeah, I've noticed that you do a lot of car reviews, and I think that's pretty awesome. We actually have a couple that we want to ask you about here in a little bit, if you don't mind. And but first, I wanted to ask you, like, how challenging was that for you? You know, as you're going through college as a journalism student, and that kind of stuff. Like, how challenging was it to actually break into the automotive field? And like making that first phone call and asking for a car to review, how hard was that?
It was, I mean, whenever I tell people, because people ask me all the time, how'd you get into this, or how do I get into it? It's like, first of all, they're going to ask you for samples. Everybody asks you for proof of work.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a PR person or a website you're going to want to write for, or a newspaper. People want to know, okay, well, you say you're a writer. Prove it. How do you write? I mean, do we have to, that kind of stuff with your phone? So in college, I got the idea of doing first impression car reviews. I would go to a dealership and tell them, look, I write paper. Let me test drive a car for 10 minutes and I can write about it. And that was kind of like the way I started writing my first reviews based on that.
Yeah.
My pitch was, I'm in college. It's graduation season. People are going to buy cars for their kids. They're going to want their opinion. Here we go. And like, oh, okay, fine. It's like, I'll write the dealership, any kind of top salesman you want, including just let me drive a car for 10 minutes.
Oh,
that's great.
That's pretty smart.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's really
so
inventive way to get into it. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it was just, the whole point is like, all right, how can I figure out a way how to drive a Dodge Challenger for free? And that was kind of my win.
Yeah. Apparently it worked.
I love it.
I love that too.
Oh, because when I finally talked to at the Texas Auto Association, they can ask me, well, do you have any samples? Like, yes, I do. Here you go.
Yeah.
And with that, all right, this kid's for real. He's not just trying to be somebody he's not, and they let me join. At the time, I was the youngest member ever, so under 25. And it was funny because I was getting cars to review essentially for free, yet I couldn't legally rent a car because I was still under 25.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Have you got any good stories about taking test drives in cars that the dealership loaned you for a minute?
Not at the dealership, because I only did a couple of them, and actually didn't give me like any Hellcats or anything fun like that. They gave me a V6 model.
Yeah.
Because again, I was just some random kid walking in. It's like, I look young now. When I was 23, I looked 17. So, all right, here you go. They were really nice to me, and I had a salesman with me, and it was they knew I wasn't going to buy the car, so they didn't want to waste any time on me. So, all right, here you go. Here's stats, your notes. Get out of here. Like, oh, thank you. Got what I needed.
Yeah. Well, at least you got what you needed. I mean, that's the important part, right? Got you where you wanted.
Yes, but that was like, I'm usually a shy person, so for me just to go to random dealerships and be like, hi, can I drive a car for free? And like, why? Oh, because I want to write about it. I was like, for what? For school chipper? It took a little bit of leap of confidence in myself. Like, all right, it's like, you got to do this because it's going to pay off, and I'm glad it did. Yeah. And I've been doing this for years now, but right now I get a car every week, and it's been like that all year, but it wasn't always like this. Like, it's only been like this for about a year and a half.
And who's giving you these cars? I know you mentioned dealerships. I'm just curious if is it private dealers or resellers?
Well, I don't know how it works in the other states, but here in Texas, there are two fleet management companies, and they kind of divide all the OEMs. Like some, I know Mazda, the other ones had a Mercedes, Toyota, Nissan, that sort of thing. And they each have a list of journalists, influencers, anyone who writes about cars in the state, and they have a list of yes and no, or maybe, or tryouts, what that kind of thing is. And they just create a schedule for each car to get tossed around, and like, oh, I'll get a car, and then that car will get picked up and sent to another journalist in Austin or Dallas or Houston or wherever they are. And it's like a rotation.
Wow.
And so
really cool.
it didn't say dealer plates; it just says manufacturer.
Mhm.
And that kind of throws cops. So like, what does that mean? It's from the manufacturer. You need a dealership? No, it's from Nissan, from Mazda. And
Yeah,
those,
I've seen those plates before up in Detroit area on
oh yeah,
random mule vehicles, but they're kind of a shocking plate. But that's cool though. Have you been pulled over in one?
many times.
I
And
bet.
I've never gotten a ticket because either they don't. It's always been like a warning. But even like in a speed trap town, which is to me still unbelievable. In a notorious speed trap town, they caught me. I explained what the car was, and the guy's just like, "All right, where are you heading?" I'm just heading down the road to my, the next city. All right, just get there safe, because he didn't know how to process the paperwork.
Oh, that could be
Oh,
helpful.
wow.
Yeah.
Who am I giving the ticket to? If you don't own the car, but you're allowed to drive it, and it's got his own different third-party insurance. He's like, just here's a warning, get out of here.
That's helpful.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, kind of nice. Absolutely.
How do I get that?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I do have, we kind of browsed back in your JesusBehindTheWheel.com website. So if anybody's interested, go to that and check out some of his articles and that kind of stuff. Pretty cool. I got a guy here, Josh, that is very interested in your review of the Mustang Dark Horse, and I'm sure he's got some questions.
Yeah, how's it going, Jesus? So, how was your most recent review with the Dark Horse?
I got that car in the middle of summer, and when I got the car, I've been waiting all year for that kind of car.
Okay.
It's one of those vehicles where like I want to ask about it, but I know everybody wants it, so kind of just wait. And it's fun. In that kind of car, I'm not really interested in being the first person to get the story out, because there's no point in competing against like Motor Trend and Car and Driver for clicks. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just wait and get my chance with it. And for that kind of car, you kind of want it to have a decent amount of mileage. That way, all right, it's broken in already. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I got the Dark Horse race red, with the 6-speed manual and the drift brake and all the bells and whistles, and I was just ecstatic about it. So much that I took 2 days off from my day job at the time.
Nice.
So like, why? Because I'm going to go out into West Texas, middle of nowhere, away from all the major cities and the big interstates, and just enjoy the car for what it is. And so in 2 days, I put 1,000 miles on that car.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So, if you have any questions about the car itself, let me know, because I really tested that car out, because there's a road out in West Texas that goes up a few mountains. So I had to drive it like straight desert roads and up in the mountain roads, and really get a feel for the car, within the speed limit, of course.
Yeah, of course. So have you driven the other Mustangs, the GT500, GT350, 350R? And how would you compare those to the Dark Horse?
Well, the 350R is way more, I would say, has more showmanship. Like, that one's more dramatic. It's louder. It's faster. Even the Dark Horse takes a lot of the parts off of it to kind of make it. I thought the Dark Horse felt a little more tame by comparison. It kind of has to be, because it can't be the same as a Shelby, because then people are like, well, why am I going to buy a Shelby when this is the same thing and it's cheaper? So they do down just a little bit to make a difference, because it's like the same reason why Chevrolet doesn't make a Camaro better than the Corvette, because you can't have that. It's a hierarchy. But I was really impressed with the overall performance, because you're driving it and the brakes are great, the engine's fantastic. I always have it in sport mode, because that's, you want to hear it. And that 6-speed manual, it's a short row, it's right there, engages right away. You can turn off the rev matching if you want, if you actually want to do it yourself. The drift brake, which I thought was a gimmick, it's not. It works really, really well. I feel like Ken Block doing it.
Didn't even know they had that.
Like, I didn't think it was going to be that good. Anyone can just use this. There's a way to engage. You get to go to the settings, and it makes you work. You can't just rip it. You have to put it into the specific settings. Otherwise, it just works like a regular parking brake. But once it's engaged, man, you have to really
cool,
because it will lock them up real quick. And if you're not prepared for it, it's going to put you in a dangerous situation.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for that. You don't hear too much about that car currently right now in the open, like as one of the sports cars to buy over some of the competitors. So I'm kind of it's nice to hear what you have to say here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's a great package. I mean, it's a little expensive because I mean we're talking about like 70 grand for a Mustang. But if that's what you want, so you're not gonna waste your money on that because it's a great car. The only problems in the review I had was it's that touchscreen dash layout, which I mean I'm an old school. I don't like the idea of having just a giant screen in front of me because then it feels like I'm at work. Like at work I have it in front of me on the car. I don't like that. And plus, when you have giant screens in your car, you usually have the same problems that you do with your desktop, which is like sometimes it freezes, sometimes it doesn't let you choose options because you click the button too fast. That's the only thing I didn't like about the car.
Okay.
Now, I was looking at the market for all three of those cars, and currently, like you said, the Dark Horse is coming in at about $70,000. The GT350R can be had about $80,000. And then the GT500 carbon fiber track pack can be out there for about 95 to 105. Which would you go after? Like, is each with the 350R, would you consider that worth the $10,000 jump? And then would the would you be enticed with the GT500 climbing up at like another 15?
I mean, if it was my down payment, I'd probably go with the GT350R because I think that's a very good all-rounder. Like if you want the procedure Shelby and you want it to handle and you want to take it to the track on weekends just for fun and also go cross-country during the week, that seems like a very good balance. Also because you're also paying money, but you're getting the status of saying, well, it's not just the Mustang, it's the Shelby Mustang. And I mean, will I get the 500? Like, yeah, if you want more and if you can afford it, more power to you. But I think that GT350, if you're just, just want to drive a nice car and have that noise and have the experience of it every day, that's fine. It's more than enough. In fact, and plus you're probably not going to lose money on it because those cars are always going to be worth money to somebody. Someone's always going to want to buy.
Yeah.
Well, I am happy with that answer, being the owner of a GT350R himself. So
you just reinforced it for him. He's feeling good about himself now. He doesn't need to go look for another car.
That's so funny. You caught me off guard because usually people ask me, "Hey, should I buy this car?" And I usually ask them, "Did you already buy it?"
Right.
Because it's like, well, do you want a car, or do you want me to, tell you that you made a good purchase?
Yeah, they're looking for affirmation on their purchase. I mean, that's fair. They spend that much money. Yeah. It's like, did I do okay? I really want to know.
Now, did I come
across the first time I GT350R was at Texas Motor Speedway on their short track.
Oh, nice. That'd have been fun.
Like 2016, 2017. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I can drive this? It's like, yeah, here's your helmet. I get to wear a helmet? So excited.
Yeah. No, that's a fun car for sure.
You can drive it. It's like, oh, awesome. So yeah, from that moment, I still remember that. That was like almost 10 years ago. And I still remember the experience of that. Yes. If I ever had
How much time on the track did you get with that car?
We got, at least for me, because it was one of those things where like they had a pool of cars and you just it was there.
Yeah.
And then do your laps, you get 2-3 laps and you can cop back, or you can always just hang around the car and drive around the whole facility. So I took my time. I got at least a good minutes in that car. Just it was like, all right, this is a car I was dreaming about just a few years back, and now I'm here in it, driving it on the racetrack. It was fantastic. And then unsupervised.
Unsupervised. That sounds fun.
That.
Yeah. So do you have any of the C8 experience? I haven't noticed any on your...
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I won last year.
Oh. Yeah. So you got one of the Stingray models then?
Yes. It was the 75th anniversary edition.
Okay. How'd you feel about that?
I had all the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
It was great. Like my first actual time driving a Corvette longer than, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole review was like, all right, I know a lot of Corvette guys, and everybody knows at least one, and they're just so obsessed with this car. And I thought, all right, now it's my turn to figure out what the hype's all about. Why do people love these Corvettes so much?
Right.
And so I even took it Houston as part of a road trip. I took it to the an annual National Corvette Club meet that they have in Houston every year. and I get to meet Corvette people from all generations who have all the generations of Corvettes, C1, C2, C3s, and I get to talk to them, and they all have very similar stories, which is like they love this car not only because it's gives you a sense of patriotism, like you feel like, oh yeah, I'm proud to be because this car was made in America, that kind of thing, but mostly because it's affordable. And what I noticed that everyone around there was very communal. It was like one big happy family. They're all strangers. The fact that they were all part of this club. I was like, wow, I don't feel that when I went to a Cybertruck car meet this year.
What?
Wow.
You didn't feel the community in the Cybertruck convention?
They're part of a work assignment, but I went there and I was just eavesdropping on conversations, because usually you go to a car meet, you hear the same, people speak in numbers, they speak engine codes, track, how it handles, what other cars they have.
Yeah.
At the Cybertruck meet, we're talking business.
Oh.
It was like trying to explain or justify why they can afford this vehicle.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've never
Status symbol.
that sort of atmosphere at a car meet.
Yeah, not really. I mean,
Didn't feel like it.
no, we're not super fans of the Cybertruck. I don't know if there are too many of those, but I don't know. It'll be an interesting journey to watch that vehicle. I don't know if it'll get better or if they'll just abandon it altogether. Hard to know.
Like the fact, my main problem with Tesla is that they don't have a dashboard in front of the wheel, like behind the wheel. I like seeing what the car is doing or how fast I'm going. I don't want to look over to the center to see anything. It's right here.
Feels a little distracting to have to look at the middle.
And also, I mean, I know it's an off-road vehicle, but the fact that when the times I've been off-roading, part of the fun is like, all right, you get stuck, great. I get to turn knobs and twist gears and shift levers and feel and hear everything working together to kind of pull me out.
Yeah.
The Cybertruck, all right, stuck. All right, let me just slide this screen to reverse, back it up. All right, slide it up, drive, get out. Takes the drama out of it.
It does. Takes the connection out of it.
Disconnected, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask one other thing about about your experience with reviewing cars and that kind of stuff. I was looking through your Nissan review and actually the Dark Horse review as well. Do you take your own photos?
Yes, I do.
Oh, they're really good. Yeah, I thought that was...
Thank you.
Yeah, they're really good. Like I was noticing... Oh, one other thing about the Dark Horse. Was that really serial number 3?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Car number 3. That was pretty cool. I saw that on the dash and I was like, oh, dang. That one's right off the front of the line. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like the interior photos and that kind of stuff, I thought, man, those are very well composed photos. So I was wondering if you did that. That's good job.
I always use my own photos. And if people ask me, what camera do you use? Like, well, just my phone.
Oh, really?
iPhone.
Wow.
That's
nice. Nicely done.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
what I do. The people, I just wait until sunset or sunrise, and you get that lighting. Doesn't look way better.
Yeah. No, it's you put those together really well. That was impressive.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. How was the review of the 400Z?
400Z. I mean, I picked it up. Put 800 miles in that car over a week.
Oh yeah.
People were. What I noticed. I mean, it's funny because you don't see that car too often.
You don't.
Nope.
So where I rolled up anywhere, people were like, "Oh, is that new Z?" It's like, yeah, and they kind of checked it out, which is funny because people don't always check out these cars, at least here in San Antonio, Texas. And that red really made everything stand out. And what I did appreciate about that car, I know people, they say, "Oh, well, you can't get it in a manual; it's only automatic." So yeah, but it's shockingly fast.
So it was the Nismo you drove then?
Yeah.
Nismo, so it adds 20 extra horsepower and better brakes and suspension, that kind of thing. So you're rocking 420 horsepower, which is in Mustang GT territory.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Yeah, you're right. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh, there's one of those new Zs. It not selling anything like the last 2 gens did, that's for sure.
I mean, it's because, the retail on this car, with all the bells, it was like $68,000 MSRP.
Wow. Get a Dark Horse.
Yeah.
That is...
Yeah, at that price range, you're considering some other options.
Absolutely, I think.
There's no doubt.
Base level Corvette C8, you're talking about like a really nice Mustang.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought where Nissan kind of dropped the ball on that one was the base model manual Z car. It doesn't come with an LSD.
Mm-mm.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's
insane.
unfortunate. I didn't
was
realize it didn't
shocked
come in a
to hear
manual
that.
either, which is also
No, they do.
unfortunate.
The base models
Oh, the
do,
base
but not
does.
the Nismos.
Oh, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh. Yeah, I haven't done my research on that one. I've only seen one on the road up here.
Yeah.
I haven't
Right.
seen one.
I mean, I will say they look really nice when they're out in public.
Mm-hmm.
They just stand up. Ooh, what is that? It's like, oh, and I love all the subtle notches to all the old keys.
Yep.
Yeah.
The way it looks is great. It sold me on the looks, but $70,000. I'm like, that's a tough sell for me.
Yeah, it would.
And I've driven the BRZ and the Z this year, so I'm gonna write the year review comparing all three cars because it's interesting because the BRZ is the cheapest by a mile,
Oh, yeah.
but
Like half price.
yeah, but the thing about that car that I was like, oh man, it was almost perfect. So you're talking about a car that's under 40 grand. It's supposed to be a sports car, but it only takes premium fuel.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
That's not good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a budget car, but
Yeah.
How'd you feel about the new BRZ compared to the previous gen?
I thought it was really impressive. I thought, it does get a little bit of power boost. And the one I drove was a manual with a real handbrake. That's nothing that I always rave about whenever I see it. It's like, oh,
Right.
real parking brake. Because people say save the manuals. Like, yeah, but what about the parking brake? That's half the fun.
That's true. It's not brought up enough,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. That's funny.
People, yeah, but how much do we actually, have fun with this car if I can't slide it around when I want to? Which one thing, the Z does have a real handbrake, so props for them for that.
Oh, that's cool. How was the interior? It looks pretty nice from the photos. The Z looks really well put together for a Nissan.
Hey, well, look, I can say nothing rattled, nothing creaked, and nothing squeaked when you
That's
pressed
a
on
plus.
it. All the everything felt nice and tight. It's great. I like that it has the three gauges angled towards the driver, the boost gauges. That's old school, and they were analog; they weren't digital. So great.
That is cool.
I'm not a big fan of the micro suede on the steering wheel because it just makes you, even if you were driving flips, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And is that on all models, I'm guessing? Probably.
I need to double check that, but I know because it's the Nismo, they add the little luxury touches to it. So,
Yeah, I've never been a fan of suede wheels either.
like I get it because it's supposed to,
Unless I'm wearing gloves.
even with gloves. So, like I have leather driving gloves that I wear just for photos and stuff like that, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Feels like it's slipping.
Okay, you drove the Nismo version, right?
Yes.
So at 420 horsepower, that's got to have a really good power to weight ratio versus that Dark Horse.
I did as far as accelerating up to let's say felony speeding ticket.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's way automatic. It feels a lot. You get there a lot quicker.
Yeah.
One of the lines I'm going to write in the review is like it gets up to 125 faster. You can say, "Holy cow!"
Oh, that's good.
It rips
That's impressive.
and it pulls without feeling like it's pulling you back into your seat. It just kind of gets there. Like, oh, I'm already here. All right, cool. Better slow down. And it feels smaller than the Mustang because it is a Mustang.
Yeah. How was the handling?
Really good. I took it to there's a road far from where I live, about an hour and a half. It's called Twisted Sisters, and it kind of goes around these tall. It's kind of weird to say mountains because they're not really mountains, but they're tall enough that hills, and they kind of look like mountains, and so it kind of goes around them. And it's really popular with motorcycles and Porsche guys and Corvette guys. So I like going on weekdays because you don't see them. It's just people who live in that area, and it's really challenging road because there's no shoulder, and it's either if you're gonna spin out, you're either gonna hit rock or you're gonna hit air and just fall off the whole thing.
No, that's not good.
Or plummet?
Yeah.
That sounds fun though.
Yeah, I'm in.
So that
That
kind of
road,
Go ahead.
nothing, not to like push my luck, just keep a nice spirited drive within control. And yeah, that thing is a lot of fun because you have that confidence of the bigger brakes, and the steering is right there where you want it. All you gotta do is maintain the RPMs high enough so you have the boost and the power where you want it. And even around cities, like I drove it around when it rained, and there are times where I just turned in and gave it just a little bit too much gas, and it spun out, and traction control had to kind of save me from spinning out because it has right there. Like you don't think it's going to be that much, but no, it's got it's a Japanese muscle car essentially.
Well, that's pretty good.
Like if you want to do burnout around, it'll do it, no problem.
So that
Here, you know,
that kind of brings me,
somebody.
you know, you're talking about spirited driving and that kind of stuff. Did you ever get into auto sports? Did you do any track days or autocross or anything like that?
I do track days whenever they come available, as far as like a press trip. But on my own dime, there's a really good facility in San Marcos, Texas. It's called Lone Star Rallycross, and probably the cheapest motorsport in Texas, probably the United States, because it's $60. You get there, you race whatever you have. It's a nice course that's completely paved, and it's all organized by professional drivers, so they know how to set up a course and they know how to do safety correctly. And I take my old Crown Vic police car. That's my daily driver. I take it there as is, put a number on it, wear a helmet, do my laps. Fastest time wins. You're competing against in your own class. It's either stock, modified, or prepared. Front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or rear-wheel drive. So I'm always by myself against a bunch of Miatas and BRZs, but it's just fun. And I do it just to kind of practice car control and make sure that I'm, not getting any bad habits. I can work them out there on the track in a nice, safe environment.
Yeah.
It's a really community.
Yeah, that's awesome. We participate in a fair amount of autocross around here for the same reason. We compete against each other and go out there on the weekends and have a good time. Learn a lot of good car control and get to push ourselves. And, like I said, compete against our buddies.
Yeah. And yourselves.
Yeah, and I'm a promoter of any sort of like car control or places that can teach just the basics about that kind of stuff, like counter steering, obstacle on that, and driver's ed.
Right.
Driver's ed was of showing us horrible videos of drunk driving accidents. All right, here's your license.
Yeah. Don't do what this guy did.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like you see the angled team body right there on the pole, that could be you.
Yeah.
But don't do that. Here's your license.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Now, did you have any projects growing up in high school?
I'm sorry?
Did you have any car projects growing up while in high school?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I learned everything about cars from my dad. And so we will project cars in high school. Our main project that's still in progress, because when you have many cars, they never get finished.
Yeah.
Was a 7 Ford F100 short bid.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
We found that at a shop that was just parked in the very back, littered with parts over it. It's been that kind of thing was just been sitting there for 20 years. Dragged that out of there, and it was a manual with a straight six. It was a cute little truck. We were going to fix it up, and then we found a little bit of rust, and you scratch the rust, find more rust, you find more rust, and before we knew it, the whole truck was taken apart down to the chassis.
Yeah.
Still like that. It's all there, just in parts.
Yeah. That truck ever get done?
And that, nope.
No.
It will be, but not right now. It'll be, because we're trying to do that front end for Crown Vic with a 5.0 V8 in it, make it nice, a little bit lowered, faster. I mean, I'm a big...
you seem to have a soft spot for those, Jesus.
I like
Panthers.
And I love a Panther, man. I love those cars my whole life because I've grown up watching those cars in movies, TV shows, rolled over, smashed. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned I'm a film buff, but I'm a film buff for a very particular genre, which is car movies, road movies. And I'm obsessed with how stunt people can just do these incredible stunts with cars and just walk away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's too bad Grant's not on the show right now because he would be going crazy. He's a movie nerd.
Have you driven a manual swapped Panther?
Not yet, but if someone wants to offer me one,
there we go.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I see it happening more and more often on the online. Of course, just watching people. That's probably fun. That's cool. I like a boat with throw your own gears.
I mean, I've had the pleasure of interviewing stunt people that work in Hollywood, and I ask them what's the best car to learn how to do stunt driving. Oh, get a Crown Vic or a Capri class. Cool. If you can drive that, you can drive anything. You learn to transfer and how body rolls with the car, and plus it's rear-wheel drive, so that makes it easier.
But and affordable.
It is an 09 police interceptor. I bought it in 21, and it's all white with the hubcaps, and I put fake antennas, and it's got a loudspeaker with the siren.
Nice.
Behind the grill, so it looks like undercover. And I do it just to troll people. whenever I go to like house parties, I show up and I do the little like whoop, and people stop.
Yeah.
They freeze. Every single they see me like, it's just
That's just him.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Hey, before we jump into your car collection, because I know you've got at least more than a few, I wanted to ask you about another test I saw that you may have been involved in. The new Hoosier Track Attack 200 treadwear tire. Did you get a chance to drive on that?
Yes, I did. I was to this day my favorite press event that I went to.
Oh, awesome.
It was Springs at the Thermal Club private racetrack, which is also like, I'm never going to be able to afford to be here unless I'm part of some sort of journalist trip. So that was a nice perk.
No, that's amazing.
And that was great because we went, it was part of like Hoosier, basically hired the B&W Performance Driving School to use their cars with these tires.
Nice.
What I did about this place is that you get to drive like an N3 on a track with Hoosiers and then switch up and drive Michelin Sport Plus tires. So you can actually feel the difference between the competitors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what they tried to compare it to.
It was Yokohama's and Michelin's.
Oh, did the Yokes?
Main.
So were the Yokohamas the AO52s?
Yes.
Awesome. Because that's what I would, I'd want to know how that went. What did you think? Give us your review.
Well, we did track testing and we did slalom courses and we did brake testing, like optical avoidance, like hitting the brakes with full ABS and then turning lanes to kind of avoid that kind of situations.
Okay.
And at first they gave us a presentation and they said that the Hoosier tires were like 20% grippier, better handling and performance. And we're like, well, how do you measure that? It's like, you're going to test it. But and I thought, I'm used to driving with cheap old tires that I get online. So I was like, this is all right. Real high class, and you do feel a difference.
Yeah.
Compared to Michelin's, because that's usually what I was testing.
Mm-hmm.
Michelin's a great tire, but the Hoosiers feel just a little bit tighter, especially when they're hard braking or turning, where you feel like you have more confidence. Like the margin of error between turning in and braking traction is a little bit greater, so you can be a little bit more of an idiot with these kind of tires compared to something else, which I appreciate that because I like to drive, but I am nowhere near a professional driver, like actual racing drivers and performance drivers.
Right.
So I know on this track, and I'm going to probably make some sloppy lines. I'm not going to do the right apex. And so knowing that these tires are more professional and can give you that greater margin of error, it's really fantastic. That's what I really took away from those tires. It's like they feel safer.
Give you a lot of confidence.
Yes, and at the end of the event, we get to drive GT4 spec M4 BMWs on a track for 20 minutes, just doing hot laps. My group was the last one to do it, and I asked them, did you guys put on fresh tires for us and for each group? It's like, no. We've been running the same tires all day and the day before with the other group.
Oh, dang.
We haven't had time to.
Now, the Michelins, are those the Sport Cup 2 or the Cup 2Rs?
It was a Sport Cup 2.
Okay.
Good to know. Yep. So they ran the heck out of those things. But by the time you got in there, being the last group, you still had good traction with that tire.
Yeah, I thought they were fresh tires.
Wow.
So I thought that's what I assumed. One of us gets the fresh set of tires. No, we didn't have time to switch them out. So it's been 2 days, and you're talking about a wide spectrum of driving talent.
Yeah, That's impressive.
People who are hot rodders, people who are not used to track days,
right? And
then you have the actual trained professionals. So like the fact that no tires blew out and none of us spun out was
yeah,
that's cool.
That's pretty awesome. And I'll bet that was a fun event. Actually get out there and be able to push tires to the limit.
Yeah, because it was the first time I got to wear like a full-on racing suit and put on the helmet and the hands device and get bolted into the seats with a 5-point harness and just experience that whole thing. Like, I can't turn my head.
Yeah.
I can't look underneath my. I'm surrounded by all this roll cage and carbon fiber and safety and fireproof suit, and it was exhilarating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Make you want to do it some more?
I bet.
Well, it makes me appreciate drivers more because you've been around cars and you're like, I can do burnouts, I can power slide, I can do this, and you get inside a real race car for 20 minutes and you get out and your knees are weak and you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, was that your first big track experience, or have you been at other big tracks before that?
I've been at other big tracks, but it was just wearing like a crash helmet and whatever street clothes I have. It wasn't like, all right, here's your racing shoes, here's your suit, here's your gloves, here's everything else.
Yeah.
Like actually up
and then
get inside a race car, and that was the first experience for me.
Oh no, that's cool. And then how would you compare that track, thermal track? That's a pretty popular and exclusive track there. So kind of curious of how you would compare your track, that track there, to the other track you had some time with. And
the
what
other
was
tracks
that
I've
track?
driven,
Yeah.
Eagle Canyon Raceway near Houston, and Texas Motor Speedway, the short track, and brief Coda. This was like years ago.
Wow, that's
really
cool.
All these tracks is mostly because of the cars I was driving. Because on all these tracks I was driving, which was performance vehicles, but there weren't race built. They weren't. This was the first time I was driving a fully fledged race car,
right? And
being asked to go, hey, just follow the lead car, and the lead car wasn't slowing down, so you get flat out on the straightaways, hard braking into the turns. At the other tracks, either I was with an instructor, making sure we won't do anything stupid, wearing street clothes, and just an open face helmet. But I will say thermal was the most fun just because of the car I was driving, because that usually helps a lot with the experience. So what are you driving on these tracks? I mean, at Eagle Canyon, I did to drive one of those Polaris slingshots.
Yeah.
The three a car that I will say are very fun. The only problem is they're really embarrassing to drive on the streets.
I would agree. Not a car I want to be seen in. I guess you call it a car.
I know that, and it's funny because I know how fun they are, but it's just like wear a bag over your head when you're driving. I can see.
I love that.
It's like a moped then.
Yeah. Don't want to be seen on it. It's fun to drive, but you don't want to be seen.
You can do one wheel peel outs, but just like it doesn't look good.
That's really funny. Are there do you get to do other aftermarket item testing, whether it's suspension or brakes, or do you get invited to those kind of things as well?
Not yet, but hopefully with this Hoosier, that'll opens a few doors for me, because I'm open to it. I love the idea of testing out off-road suspension or brake, whatever the aftermarket wants to offer me.
Absolutely. That'd be.
If they want to give me a light bar, truck them. Yeah, go for it. I'll do it.
Yeah, put that on a Raptor R and let's get out in the desert and go.
Seriously,
Raptor R. I haven't reviewed yet.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Maybe that's the next one. Are you going to SEMA this year?
No, I can't. I have some other trips planned out for that same week.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends who are going, and I'm always like spellbound. It's like, dude, you're going there the whole week. It's like, oh my God, good for you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a commitment.
Yep. It should be good though. So I was curious. We can jump into your own project cars. I'm definitely curious what you got going there. But do you, when you're out seeing other cars, or maybe you're I don't know, maybe you go to car shows and that kind of stuff, do you look around and try to pick up tidbits or ideas for your own projects?
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to color combinations, because we have to paint a car. You're like, that's nerve wracking. It's like, oh, this is going to cost me a good amount of money. I want to make sure it's a color that I'm not going to get bored of in 2 months or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking interior options too, like, oh, what color is that, or what material is that, or stance and the thing, because we have a lot of old trucks, and old trucks are great because you can do anything you want with them. But because you can do anything you want with them, it's like, oh, well, I have so many choices, I don't know what to pick.
No
so
doubt.
I don't want to slam it, raise it up. Do I go off-roading? Do I go street riding? What do I do with this?
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough decision to, we've talked about making those decisions before you start your car project. You got to have something in mind, but halfway down the road, you're like, well, I kind of like this now. I've changed my mind. But is it too late to change your direction? Or, that's a whole nother thing. How many actual project cars do you have going?
20.
20. Oh,
Nope. Wow.
I love it. That's amazing. So you and your dad?
Yeah, because I tell people, like, why do you have so many? So because we have the best commodity that's worth I mean, because people say, "Oh, you either have time or money." It's like, yeah, but we have something that you guys don't have. We have space.
Nah,
Space is key.
you got room for
Yeah,
20
acre
cars.
property.
Yeah.
They'll wait.
So
That's the key right there. That's we just all right. We find a deal, we get it, and we just leave it there, and we'll get to it later. And we find another deal, we get to it, and we'll get to it later. We get to it later, and you fix it. Oh, it's 20 years, 20 cars. Oh no.
Right.
yeah, maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. Well, you've got something else too. You've got a dry climate, so that helps.
Yes.
That helps. Yeah,
Helps.
South Texas is really good for preserving cars.
Yeah, yeah. What are
Have
your
you
favorite?
purchased all your projects in Texas?
Oh, say again, Ian.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you guys.
Have you purchased all your project cars in Texas? I'm just curious.
We got one in Mexico, and one of my recent ones I bought last year was an impulse buy online from the northeast.
What was that?
Which one was that?
That was a '71 Cadillac Eldorado.
Ooh.
Cool.
I've seen the pictures of that one. That is a nice car.
Oh yeah, that one was just. I was just looking for photos of that car so I can draw, because I had a drawing in mind. And I saw that particular car. I was like, "Oh, that's really nice patina on it, and steel wheels and all that. Looked tough." Then I saw it like, "Oh, it's for sale. It's a little price. It's not too bad." I saw the photos of the car. The guy who had it before me, he painted the underside black, so it kind of keeps the salt off of it.
Mm.
And I just emailed him, made him an offer, like a low ball offer, see what happens. He emailed me the next day. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take your offer." He's like, "Oh crap, I just bought a Cadillac."
Oh man, that's funny.
Bummer.
Yeah. Oh, bummer.
Damn the bad luck.
Darn it.
Got 90,000 original miles. Everything works. Even the signal lighters work.
Nice.
All the car was put a new radiator, brake job, and new headlights. And I'm driving it tomorrow morning, 150 miles to my hometown as like its first maiden voyage, long distance.
Nice.
Just see how it handles.
So you had it shipped in? Because that was my question. Was did you drive it home? But it sounds like you probably didn't.
No, that was one thing. Like I thought about it. It was like a sight unseen. I have no idea, and I've never been through the north, especially in the east. It's like, oh, you know what? I'll ship it down. I got a good rate. It's funny because the guy showed up in 4 days with the car.
Oh wow,
that was fast.
That was really fast. Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, and a Russian immigrant who was like, "Hey, how long you been in America? 3 months. 3 months, and you're already delivering cars.
Cool. Wow,
For you, buddy."
no doubt.
He had a job before he came over.
Well, yeah,
And I was so happy that I drove off the trailer without an issue. Like, oh, it starts up, great. It moves, it stops, lights work. I went to Jiffy Lube to get inspected. And they're like, "Look, the car is so old, we can't put it in our system. So we passed you, but here you go. Just take it. It's free."
Oh wow,
Well, that's cool.
yeah. So take us through some of your favorite project cars. I mean, you got 20 of them. Which ones really stand out for you?
The Chevy Monte Carlo, it's 1970 Chevy Monte Carlo SS 454.
Ooh.
That's the real deal. It's got 43 or 44,000 miles. We found that car years ago. It's a car that, when you see a car that you've been driving past for years and it's always like not for sale or it's always covered up. That was that kind of car. It was in a small town in between Laredo and Texas, which is about 150 miles. So it was directly in the midpoint in a small town, off the side of the interstate, at a metal shop, just parked there alongside the fence, covered up. So for 9-10 years, I would see that car. I didn't know what it was because it was covered up, but I knew it was something from the 70s. It had that square shape to it.
Yeah.
So it was the 2016 Christmas Day. I'm driving back from San Antonio to Laredo to spend Christmas with my family. I was working at Hertz, renting a car at the time, worst job ever. I'm like, look, I have time. No one's rushing me. I want to see if that shop's open, or at the very least, I can take a peek and see what that car is. When I got there, the car wasn't there, but the shop was open. So I pulled in, and it was the family who runs it was just tinkering on their race cars because they're drag racers.
Nice.
Like, hey, what's that car? Oh, it's right in the back. I saw it. Oh, red Chevy Monte Carlo SS 454. I was like, what are you gonna do with it? We're selling it. Really? And he told me how much. Drove home, told my dad, like, "Oh, we're going tomorrow. We'll pick it up." I said, "Really? Yeah, okay."
Nice.
And that was it.
So
The car did run,
yeah.
but the thing was that they got it from a guy who had it parked under a tree for 20 years and it had a vinyl top until the roof was gone, completely into it. Like you could see the support beam and the interior dome light, which is hanging by a thread,
Oh, boy.
like dangling.
Ouch.
But when you open the door, it's still turned on.
Just hanging
And I was like, all right, this car is still alive. They bought the car for the 454 engine. They wanted to gut it and take that engine out and build a race car with it. But when they saw that the car was basically rusty but still working, like the guilt was overwhelming. It's like, we can't cut this thing up. It's a real SS. And it's like, we took it and we fixed it. And right now, it's not done yet. It's interior work, but the roof has been completely reconstructed and painted. It's solid. You run it again. We did full restoration as far as body wise. We took all the rust out, and now it just needs new seats, a new center console, and just details to make it pristine again.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty awesome. That's kind of a long-term project.
Pretty stock?
Yeah, all our projects are long-term.
Yeah.
We can say, oh, we're this year's like, no, we're not, but it'll get done. It just takes a little bit of time, and because it's like one of those things where you have all these cars, so you do a little bit of work here, and then you say, all right, we gotta wait for that, so work over here, and just spinning plates, keep them all, make sure none of them too far down to, derelicts.
Right.
Did you keep that car pretty stock? I haven't seen it. I'm just curious if you just put OEM parts on it, or do you guys modify as you go? I mean, like you said, there's so many options, but I'm just curious about that car in particular.
Me and my dad, we argued for a long time about what we do, because I thought, this thing's awesome. And, for those who've seen, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, that morning car, I love that car. I love the look.
Me too.
And this thing's rusted out. We just do that. And I was like, well, Dad, this thing is 3 cuts away from being a convertible. Let's just make it a convertible. I was like, no. Because we found it was a real SS. Like, no, we got to restore it back to its original condition. Factory red, black interiors. The only thing we probably won't do is add a vinyl top. I told we can probably black. It'll probably look cooler in the first place.
Yeah.
But you start that thing up and you put it in drive. If your foot's not firmly on the brake, it'll trip the tires just at idle.
I love it.
I'm like, this thing is ready to rock as is. And so that's one of those cars that, all right, we're keeping it original as possible. And I thought about selling it after we're done with it, but now it's like, hey, you know what? Life's short. I'm going to keep it and just drive the hell out of it.
There you go.
On it. That's ultimately what their cars are for.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've spent that much time restoring it and that kind of stuff. You might as well enjoy it now. Yeah.
Like another, most of the cars, because we don't go out looking for a specific car. Like, oh, we got to find this particular year. No. It's just, they kind of find you.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Right.
Like literally last week, we bought a 1949 Studebaker pickup truck.
Oh, wow.
Those are cool.
Because our neighbor sold his property and he had to get rid of all his stuff. That was one of the projects that he had. So do you guys want it? And I was like, yeah. It's like, it's in pieces. Like, we'll take it.
Wow. Add that to the collection.
So the plan, it was like, we'll just get it's just like in pieces. Like, we got the bed, the cab, steering column. We got the original engine and the frame, boxes of parts, all the hard to find pieces that we were really excited about, like the trim pieces that say Studebaker. I mean, where are they going to find that?
Oh, yeah.
And like all right, we're going to find an old Chevy S10, just use the frame and put the cab and the bed on top of it. And there we go.
Wow. Do they have the same wheelbase?
Yep.
We checked on forums and Facebook groups for these kind of trucks, and they all say that, yeah, that S10 model years, like the last generation and the 80s ones, it'll fit.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit of massaging, it fits.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah, I find that that chassis is used a lot for the body swaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And parts are available, and you can probably get one of those chassis or just a roller truck for dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we thought about it, like, we could either do, it's like, we're leaning towards just doing an LS swap. And
I like the way you think.
What do you want these cars to do? Is, look, all I want to do is cruise at 80 miles an hour and do burnouts. That's it.
I love it.
Does it have the tailgate with the bed?
We have the bed, but it's missing the tailgate. We got to find that.
Okay.
So that's an iconic piece.
It is.
But we have the key with the locking key and the original keys.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Just all the glasses there. I'm like, okay, so all the hard to find pieces were there. Great.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just one of those. We knew that truck was there the whole time, but we never said, it's not in the cards. But then he kind of told us, hey, you want it? And he's told the price. So yeah, we'll be there tomorrow to pick it up.
That's pretty
So cool.
good. You got right place, right time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. What else you got? What is the Monte Carlo your favorite, or do you have a favorite in the in the group?
Right now, my favorite because it runs.
What was that? The Cadillac?
The Cadillac Eldorado is my favorite because it runs.
Yeah.
That's what it gets. All right.
That's fair.
Favorite right now because you drive you tomorrow anywhere I want. Great.
Yeah.
But the one that has the most sentiment for me is a 69 Camaro that I bought when I was 22.
Nice.
That car, again, was just spur of the moment. We went to a dealership that has only classic cars. It was on Mother's Day, and we were going to drive to Outlet Malls for my mom, but we saw the dealership. I'm like, can we just stop for a minute just to look around before we get to go take shopping? He's like, okay, fine. So, love my mom. She puts up with all that crap all day.
Right.
Just looking around, look at all these cars, like, wow, this is nice. I can't afford that, And then this blue with a white stripe 69 Camaro just rolls up, and the owner gets out, older gentleman. He was trying to see if he'd be, talk to dealers so they can sell the car, like co-sign, I forget what it's called, but leave the car there. There you go. That's what it is.
Yep.
Mom, and he rolled up with his wife, and my mom started talking to the wife while me and my dad started geeking over the car because it looked just like that right look. Big tires in the back. Mm-hmm. It had that nice. It looked like a day 2 modern Camaro from the 70s. It had the Z28 badges and the hood, but it wasn't Z28, just a 350. So it's like a tribute car.
Yeah.
4-speed, just like, wow, time capsule kind of car. Turns out, gentleman, Mr. Rodney Goodhill, he had cancer, and they gave him like a date, that kind of thing. So he knew time was up.
Wow.
And that was his car built in the 90s, and he wanted to sell it and use the money to kind of leave like a nice, nest egg for his wife and his family.
Sure.
So long story short, he sold the car to me with the condition that I wasn't going to do an LS swap, and I wasn't going to modify it like a resto mod. I was going to try and keep it, old school. And I was like, yes, you got it. Cool. So that's one car that I can't sell, even if someone offers me money. It's like, no, I promised him that's his car. I'm just looking after it.
Sure.
Wow.
What condition is that car in now?
It's in. It needs a new wiring harness because all that wiring was done in 30 years ago.
Yeah. And
so it needs work. It always has gremlins. That the car runs fine, but it shuts off randomly.
Oh, yeah, that can be frustrating.
Yes.
So you're definitely LS swapping it then, right?
No, that's the same.
He said he wasn't going to do that.
Oh, I figured he had his fingers crossed or something.
No. That car. And plus, the engine that he built by himself, it sounds like a drum line when you start up. Like it's cammed.
Oh, cool!
I love that. I love that sound. Yeah.
I have a question. Jesus, which vehicle, you mentioned buying one in Mexico. Which one did you buy down there?
That was a VW bus, 1985.
Okay. So the van again.
Yeah, my dad's from Mexico, and in the 80s he worked and he flipped cars all the time, and most of them were Volkswagens, so he loves those cars. And he has
they're cool.
He has a Beetle, but he wanted a bus because he wanted the pair. And he finally found that bus, and it's not a cargo van; it's a passenger van, so it's got nice windows, and it's getting restored in Mexico.
Oh,
because parts are easier to find.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
They made them there, correct?
Oh yeah, they made them there for a long time. 2003. They were making
no kidding. 2003. Wow.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the last generation of those cars, they had ABS and they had disc lock brakes, and they had just a little bit more creature comforts, but they were still just no AC manual cars.
Oh, that's cool. That'll be fun. So you've got the Cadillac on the road. The Monte Carlo's close. The Camaro needs some wiring. Like, which one do you think you'll focus on? Do you have a focus kind of project mindset on any one car?
Right now, I think the Camaro, because I've been neglecting it the last couple, and I was like, I want to see a thing run, and I want to do some stuff. I want to upgrade the gas tank, put a fuel cell, because it's safer. I mean, put disc brakes, because it's got drums all the way around, and it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No power steering, so it's just it's the death trap, but in the best kind of best way of phrasing it. But the last time I drove that car, it's a real muscle car in that it doesn't stop, doesn't turn, but it goes.
That's funny.
So I want to I want to add a roll cage, but my dad says no because the interior is so nice. Like, why are you going to ruin it? It's like, because Dad, this thing is a tin can, and if a Kia hit, I'm dead.
Oh. I mean, it was
Like,
a
I'm not
pretty big tin can, though. Really, those Camaros are big.
But I mean, the thing with those Camaros is that they're not a fully framed car. They only have a subframe.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're a lot smaller than. If you see them up close, a 6'9" Camaro, it's tiny. Like, you look at the back seat that people used to fit in the back. Yeah, were people smaller back then? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I can squeeze myself into it, but I'm only 5'7", and I'm just like, this is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
People just ride in the back.
I think the back seat was more of an
different
idea. It was kind of a suggestion.
Yeah.
It was an insurance thing.
Probably insurance purposes, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, my plan is the back seat, put a roll cage in there, and it'll look tougher because I want this car to look like a 1978 modded out Camaro. So it's got bigger wheels. It has air shocks, raise them all the way to the ceiling. Put a big old obnoxious CB antenna with a foxtail. Give that really outrageous look.
That would be pretty outrageous. You are correct. Oh, that's funny.
I'm all about that.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like seeing classic cars, muscle cars with like 22-inch wheels and rubber band tires. I'm like, that kind of defeats the purpose of a muscle car.
Oh, yeah.
The whole point is to burn rubber, put more rubber. Don't take away. It's like, I get it. Like people that do like really, really high-end builds on these cars, like, yeah, they look great, but it just looks like Hot Wheels now. Like, you spend $150,000 to have your car drive like a new one. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing about having the classic car is to have the classic car experience, right? Like,
yeah,
that's the connected feel to the car. The more electronics and crap you add to it, the less connected you are. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I mean,
yeah, I agree.
I
mean, there's a time and place. I mean, resto mods are cool. If the car was, couldn't be saved and you're just doing a body swap, that's a different story. But no, I agree. It's nostalgic to see something built like the style you were talking about, Jesus. That's cool.
Yep.
Like, there's a degree to it.
Yeah.
People that build a old school car to such a degree where you open the hood and you don't see the engine because they put like a decorative cover for it.
Right.
And they put great. I admire the amount of effort and money that went into this, but it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So
I think
you just put on this car.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it.
Yeah. Resto mod stuff is good. I'm a fan of the resto mods, but to me, it's suspension, brakes, and some safety gear, to make it a safe car to drive, because 4-wheel drum brakes they don't stop well. That's a scary situation.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
And these drums don't, like the wheels don't lock up. You just hit the brakes and it kind of thinks about it. Like, I'll stop when I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds about right.
I think we've all driven cars like that. If you, grew up with old stuff.
Yep. God, I remember driving a early 70s Chevy truck with a camper on it, pulling a trailer, 4-wheel drum brakes. That was a scary, scary drive. I was not ready for that.
Well, like my Eldorado, when I first took it out on a nice scenic drive, I wanted to do a panic stop just to see how this car reacts, just to have an idea so that I'm not surprised when I eventually have to do it.
Yeah.
So hit the brakes, and as soon as I did that, the brake master cylinder went out.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So it has discs in the front, but they're the original ones. And so now I didn't have any front brakes, only real drums. So
you had no brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had by the time I got home, the rear drums were just smoking because they were just overworked.
Man.
But it got me home.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, you figured out what you needed to, because if you'd have done that in a real emergency, that would have been a problem.
Yeah, that would have been really bad to find out that the brake master was one strong pull from braking.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever take any of your projects to car shows or anything like that, or any plans to do that?
We used to. My dad has a really nice 66 Chevy C10 short bed that he bought. Again, just an impulse. And this one we bought it kind of finished. Like, it's got nice cherry red paint with a white roof. It's got white wall tires, 350, but it's got air conditioning and power steering, power brakes. So
got some good stuff.
That one's like, we got that one kind of done already. So now we just tinker with it and make it look nice and keep it nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really the only vehicle we have now that's show worthy. But he's almost done with his 66 Mustang convertible that he's been restoring for the last 2 years from the ground up. That, tires, brakes, suspension, 5-speed automatic from a Thunderbird, 289 original, but rebuilt, new paint, new convertible top, new seats. That one's like 99% done.
Yeah.
And when he's gonna take it to every car show he can.
I'll bet. No,
That's
that
cool.
one sounds great. That's a good project.
And that's his dream car, so he's very happy about that.
Ah, even better. Gotta like that. Getting close to done with a dream car. That's always fun. So what's next?
The only other
Go ahead.
thing that we can technically drive is a 1962 Ford Falcon 2-door.
Oh, yeah?
That's a plain little Ford with
Yep.
a automatic, surprisingly.
And that's a driver now?
Yeah. It's a
Those are cool looking cars.
Yeah.
I told my dad, like, Dad, maybe we should add like another gear to this car so we can drive it on the highway, because I don't think it's going to do stuff.
It might. Well, what's the original motor in a Falcon like that?
289?
Yeah, it was like
It was.
that one had, I think, the 170 straight six.
Oh,
Straight
okay.
six, yeah.
Six, sure.
Pretty small.
Just a little tiny carburetor on it.
Yeah. Those are neat little cars, though.
They
I
are.
agree.
And spacious. Like the trunk space is bigger than most Nissans today. You can fit 6 people in this car, and you're like, oh, it's so small.
And a
But
couple in the
because the door, because everything else, the safety wasn't a priority. So yeah,
Yeah.
make the interior enormous.
Jesus, what's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Right now, just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to check off a lot of bucket list items doing this career. I have a few left that I want to get to experience. Like, I'm hoping that I get like a supercar for a week.
Ah.
That's the achievement for me. It's like, all right, when they lend me a McLaren or some sort of Aston Martin or something of that caliber, it's like, here you go. Take care of it for a week. Write about it. It's like, oh yeah, great. I have achieved the level of status that I dreamed about.
There you go.
That's cool.
Yeah. How do you work up to that? Like, do you got to go through BMW first and Audi and then, work your way up?
Kinda. You kind of have to. It's kind of like all right, here's a Nissan. All right, cool. You didn't break that. All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You didn't break that. Here's a Lexus. Now we're going up higher value. All right, here we go.
Nice.
Just see how mostly, and it helps too, because every single car they loan out, it's an investment. They're losing money because they have to pay for drivers, they have to pay for gasoline, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. It's a car to be able to sell because it's an ex-demonstrator. So in certain cases, they don't sell the car, they crush it.
Right.
So it's a loss.
Right.
And so they make their money back is through coverage. So if you're somebody who's polite and produces content regularly on every car you do, whether it's social media, written articles, YouTube videos, whatever, that's another way to kind of like, okay, cool. At least this person is guaranteed to produce content that people are actually going to see. So that's all comes a factor. It's like, what's your reach? Do people read your stuff? Do people watch your videos? Or are you just doing this for fun? Like, how serious are you? That's another big significant thing. Like the Houston Chronicle is right now the main reason why I get so many cars is because that's a prestigious publication that
nice.
gets my website's nice, but it's not a major newspaper.
Right.
So if my website, that's tougher to sell. So, hey, can I have this $500,000 car? So my website, I get 7,000 views a month. Like, maybe not.
Right. No, that's understandable.
That's why when you write for a big website like The Drive or Motor Trend, Car and Driver, then yeah, you get all the cars because they know that's a guaranteed coverage that people are going to want, inquire, ask questions, and ultimately, hopefully, buy the car.
Sure.
Hey, with supercars in mind, what car do you most look forward to reviewing?
It's a good question. Like, I'm a big fan of Mercedes AMG, so I really want to try their high-end stuff. McLaren, everybody, at least here in Texas, so you see them a lot. But my mom has a 2013 Porsche Cayenne S, and that's my only introduction to the brand. So I would love to drive like 911 GT3 just to, again, see what all the hype's about. Because Porsche people, they are really serious about their brand.
They are. I've noticed that too.
And of course, the typical stuff. Give me a Ferrari, give me a Lamborghini, give me an Italian, something fast. And whenever people are like, oh man, you're going to get so many girls with that car, it's like, no, I'm not. I'm going to get a lot of dudes checking me out.
Yeah,
That is
exactly. That's very true.
That's true.
Guys drive cars to impress other guys. Because the girls,
It's funny because
women don't really care.
a nice sport.
No, they really don't.
I'm a testament to that. When I drive a brand new Nissan Z or a Supra or a new Mustang, something that's, or Lexus LC500, it's one of my personal favorite cars.
Sweet.
They're fantastic. Girls don't care.
No.
But when I get back, they turn their heads. They'll ask me, "Nice car. What is it? What is this?" Because it's outrageous and it looks crusty because of the patina on it. That turns more heads from women than a brand new sports car. So, fellas, if you really want to turn heads when you roll up to a club or a bar, don't waste your money on McLaren. Just buy an old Cadillac.
There you go. Yeah.
Get an old truck with some patina on it, with some character on it, and people are going to notice.
So you've kind of answered this already, but typically we'll ask our guests, what 3 cars are on your bucket list to drive? So you've got McLaren, Mercedes. You want to drive those for your journalism, but are they also your bucket list cars? You know, if you got a 765 LT or a Senna, something like that, something you're not probably going to get to drive, for a journalist article.
A Senna would be fantastic because that's like top tier level.
Right.
But honestly, talking about high dollar cars, what I really want to drive is vintage Ferraris, vintage Lamborghinis, or an original AC Cobra.
There you go.
Like something like
Yep. Yeah, I like that.
big money car.
Well, they're big money cars, but
really
they have so much history on them too, right?
Yep.
I mean, it'd be fun to experience that.
Yeah, it'd be funny just to have that thin rim steering wheel and sliding the gears in and feeling that I might die, or worse, that I might scratch it.
Yeah.
So
if I don't die, I'm going to wish I did.
that's one of like here in San Antonio that only restores first generation Mustangs. And when I went to go there, I saw that they had this gorgeous 65 fastback. No, 66, excuse me. And I looked at it. It didn't look right. I said, "What's wrong with this car? It's custom." Yeah. The owner wanted a 427 big block in it. It's like, oh. You open the hood, they were enormous. It barely fits in there. Just all engine. You can't even put your hands to reach the spark plugs, nothing.
Oof.
And he took it on for me, and it's outrageously loud. It's got side pipes coming out. Just an incredible car. It's like, what's wrong with it? Nothing really. He just brings it here every month because he's too scared to drive it. It's like, okay.
That's the Cobra?
No, that's just a Mustang that he turned. He put a Cobra engine
Mustang
into it.
Fastback.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It slides in all 4 gears, and so the owner's too scared to drive it because he's had it for 40 years. And so now he just brings it to the shop to have new stuff added to it.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
I'm like, well, good for him. He's like, well, can I drive it? I mean, I'll run it through the gears. I'm not scared. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, no, you can't.
You would be afterwards.
Yeah, you'd be scared after. Yeah, you got to ask the owner's permission to get on that one.
Yeah. Another thing, I really like cars that scare you. Because either they feel like, oh, this thing is too rowdy or it's too hard to handle. It's like, oh, yeah, let me try it.
I'm with you. I'm like, we talk about the first and second gen Vipers. I want to drive one because they don't have ABS. They don't have traction control. They don't have all this stuff. I want to try that out. I want to see what it feels like. Same with like the Ferrari F40 doesn't have any of that stuff. I want to drive that.
Yeah. I did drive a second gen Viper.
Yeah.
I helped a buddy with a short film project. His lead actor dropped out, so he asked, "Do you want to do it?" It's like, "I'm not an actor." Well, I'll do it. And I had to drive that Viper. I think it was an 02 model Viper GTS. And yeah, I describe it as, it's like, dude, this is a powerboat on land.
That sounds about right.
Outrageously loud, and I was going through the gears and terrified. I was like excited, like, I'm gonna go, more RPM, change gear. Thankfully, nothing bad happened to the car, and I was safe, and everybody, the movie got made. But I was like, okay, this is one of those opportunities that you can say no to it, even if, because I'm not an actor and I hate the idea of being in front of the camera, but I was like, get to drive a Viper at the end. Like, then I'll do that. I will do that for that experience.
Absolutely. I mean, if you need help with that, there's probably 4 of us here that are willing to take that flight down and help you drive cars.
Well, the owner of that Viper, that was his childhood dream.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. He wanted the blue with stripes, but he's like, that's too expensive now. So he found this red one, and it's got vanity plates. So it says Kool-Aid.
Nice.
Named it. He's like, oh, it looks like the Kool-Aid guy. He's like, oh, great. There you go. That's the car's name, the Kool-Aid Viper.
I love it. Kind of looks like the Kool-Aid guy laying on his side.
Front smile.
Yeah.
That big ring in front.
Yeah.
The fog lights.
There you go. I could see that.
Like, you guys, like first wheeler, if you had the means, go for it, because it's a hell of a ride.
Yeah. On the opposite end of that spectrum, what car is a hard no? And being a journalist, that's difficult. They might ask you to drive a car that you just don't want to drive.
I mean, when it comes to as far as being professional, I'll drive anything.
Yeah.
So you get it, and I'll be unbiased, and I'll give my fair review on it. Because I mean, I just wrote an article on the Charger EV, the new Dodge muscle car.
Yeah.
People ask me, if you're a V8 guy, you like almost cars, you're a Mopar guy. What do you think of this? Like, look, I'm not gonna judge it until I get to drive it, but I did get to see it finally in person.
Yeah.
Last week, and all right, cool. It does sound nice, like that artificial exhaust.
Yeah.
It sounds nice. It sounds way better than what you're gonna hear to your iPhone speakers.
Sure.
It idles. It starts up nice. It revs nice. It looks nice. I think it looks really nice because I told the people from like. What people don't understand is that you guys are trying to make an electric car look and sound like a muscle car.
Yeah.
That is easy to do. And I appreciate the effort you guys are putting into this. That you're trying, which is more than other companies are doing. So that alone gives you a benefit of the doubt that I'm like, I told you guys, I appreciate the effort you're doing. And they kind of shook my hands like, thank you. Because they read all this, people saying that, oh, it's not a V8.
Right.
It doesn't look good. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. This car does look good. And I'm sure when you hit the gas with the accelerator pedal, it's going to perform and it's going to go fast, which is the ultimate goal with something like this. But
yeah, and it's interesting. They're doing they're going to still do, combustion engines with the inline six Hurricane motor. That's not a slow motor by any means. It's been proven that guys are already building them and making big power with them.
Yeah, and I keep telling people, like, I mean, who's to say, Dodge isn't secretly working on a hybrid V8 Hemi for the V8? I mean, you don't know. You have no idea what's in the pipeline. You have no idea if they're going to do a electric truck, but with a V8 generator that the only job is to sound cool and supply fuel to the batteries. I mean, there's so much potential that we can do. So it's this car right away because this is like the first step into something else that we might like down the road. And so I wrote an article that's going to come out tomorrow stating that, like, look, whatever you feel, like, I get it. Electric muscle cars doesn't sound too good. It's got a weird taste when you say it. I know it's not a V8. I know it's not a Hemi, but give it a fair shot because you have no idea what's going to follow up after this.
Hey, Seuss, you mentioned the word bias. How do you stay unbiased during, like, your reviews? Like, if you were...
basically, whenever, like, I have any ideas or conceptions about the car before I get into it, all right, cool, I'll just leave it out. All right, when I get to the car, it's like, all right, I'm getting it for the first time. Like, I know nothing. I don't read the specs. I don't know nothing about it. I'm trying to get into the mindset of someone who's at a dealership, just drive and just see what happens. And then you kind of live with the car for a week. You go do grocery shopping. You take it on a short 2-hour road trip. You go through rush hour traffic with it. You have friends or family inside the car with it, and they point out stuff that maybe you don't feel because you're not in the passenger seat. I take it to female friends, guy friends, friends with kids, friends with older parents. So kind of get like a nice focus group and see what they're looking at that I don't see. And then I start looking at the specs and start looking at consumer reviews and any major recalls the car might have. And all of that kind of formulates into a review. That's not really a review as far as like, this is the car, this is what it has, this is what it costs. It's more like, all right, this is what I did with the car, and this is what happened.
Okay.
No, that's
because I mean, people want to read a review, they can go to Car and Drive, and that's a great source of information. But if you want to know what the car is to live like, that's where you kind of talk to or read people like me that talk about more or less the experience about the car as far as to just facts and figures. Like I drove a Suburban, brand new Suburban, with that they call it the Baby Max, which is the 4-cylinder Duramax diesel engine. And I thought, all right, cool. It's not the fastest model you can buy, but I was able to get 600 miles out of the full tank.
Wow,
that's pretty good for a SUV.
Yeah, it is.
That was the key point of this SUV. Like, look, if you just need a family hauler that's also diesel power, so it's got some torque, you can tow something with it and get decent mileage. Here it is.
Yeah. Back to, I'm going to put you on the spot. On the personal side, what car is a hard no?
Tesla.
Okay. Yeah. I like
all
that.
of them?
I don't.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yes. All of them. I'm with all of them.
I can see that Tesla doesn't have marketing, and they don't do press loans.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay.
In
Yeah, I
black
didn't know
color.
that.
They don't think they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't like the way they look. I don't like the interiors. I've driven a couple of them, and instant torque and accelerates. Yeah, but so what? A lot of cars can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's a good answer. Jesus, we have taken up a whole bunch of your time, way more than I anticipated. I hope that's okay with you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. We could, I'm sure, continue down this rabbit hole of electric cars because it seems to come up all the time. But I want to thank you for being on the show and for taking the time. And I would bet that we will contact you again sometime.
Sure, man. I mean, this is great. Anytime you guys want to just sit down and talk about cars, you have my number.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Take care.
Thank you guys. I had a lot of fun. Didn't feel like an hour and a half already. Wow. Feel like 30. And I'm serious. Anytime you guys want to have me on the show, just give me a head. Happy to do it.
Hey, Jesus, I can't wait to have you back on to debate the muscle thing.
The muscle car thing?
Yeah, because electric and muscle car does not go together in my vocabulary.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to get a press loan for that car, hopefully for the year ends, because they're technically already for sale, 2024 models. The models are not going to be in dealerships until late next year. This time next year, that's when they come out the gasoline ones. So,
do you have any insight into the 4-door variant I know they're going to produce? Have you seen anything about that?
I haven't seen one in person, but those come out summer next year.
Okay. Cool.
Someone asked, how come you're not doing Challenger and Charger? And basically the question was, Challenger is the retro car. That was the one to come with Challenger bait. And so they didn't want to confuse people with that. So not just take the Charger. And I was kind of thinking also the name Charger is better for an EV. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense.
That makes sense.
But they're putting a lot of work into trying to appeal to people that are really like naysayers about this. And it's like, I get it. Because, one of the lines in the review is like, electric muscle car kind of rolls off the tongue like a vegan barbecue. It doesn't produce a sour taste in your mouth.
Shit.
That's a really good way to put it.
That's awesome.
But gotta appreciate effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, and how long is this going to last? Are we really going to go down this electric road that long? I don't see it sustaining.
I mean, pre-pandemic, you had all the big manufacturers saying that they were going to be full electric by 2030, 2035. And now,
no chance.
All been pedaling back. Like, and you know what?
Yep.
We'll do hype, or we're going to do this. And I called this, like, I knew it, because they can't do it. It's way too much money. And people aren't buying electric vehicles like they assumed they would.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because the infrastructure's not there. Like, when I get an EV to test, it depends, because I live in an apartment 2 stories up, so I don't have a home charger, and the nearest charging station that's universal is 30 minutes away from me, and so I got to waste in there burning, range, wait an hour to charge it, and then burn more range coming back. So I'm never at 100%. So they gave me a few months back. They gave me a Mercedes Sprinter van that's electric.
Oh wow!
I'm like, great. This has only got 140 miles of range. I can't go anywhere. So I put 11 miles on it and put it back. All right, I got my photo, my notes. I'm going to write about it. Waste of money. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the vehicles they're trying to make electric, like that one particular, that's like the final one I think should be proposed as electric. You know what I mean? A utility van with low range. Like, let's wait on that. I mean, compacts and commuters, that's one thing, but a van or a truck, it just doesn't make much sense to me yet.
Like, Ram has a good idea with it. It's not the new EV Ram Charger next. That's different because it's battery powered, but it has an engine that runs on gasoline. That's not an engine; it's a generator. Mm-hmm. So its whole purpose is to fuel the batteries, so you don't have to stop.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's going to be the way of the future.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard an interview with Ford about that same thing, and that's the way they're going. You can get, they said for like local deliveries, they can do 120 or 150 miles all electric locally, but then if you need a longer distance, it's got an onboard diesel generator, so you can do 600 miles. on a single tank of gas. That's the way to go.
Perfect sense.
Oh, it makes so much sense.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's more than just a hybrid. It's something a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, so you get that sound as you're generating batteries for your EV, so you get best of both worlds. Because I've always tell people's like, you don't have to decide between gas and EV because technology's been around at the same time. It's not about choosing; it's about making them both work together and making everything more efficient.
Right.
Like instead of changing the entire infrastructure, just make what we have right now better.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally lost my train of thought. There was something else on there.
Shoot. Well, if anything, I'd like to go back and ask about the C8 ZR1 that is just coming out, and like sports cars and some of these supercars in general going forward. The ZR1 has literally 1,064 horsepower. Where on earth are we going after this, and especially for like even the hypercar models, the McLarens, the Ferraris and all that stuff, where it just seems like more horsepower is better.
Yeah.
Like, are we seriously going to, is 1,000 horsepower going to be the new 500 in a couple of years, or is it already?
To me, it's not about power. It's about like, all right, so wait, so who can drive this car? Anybody with a down payment? That's not good.
Right.
I'm in.
At certain points, like, okay, 0-60 under 3 seconds, fantastic. But these are city streets with potholes, and the average motorist has no idea how to wrap their head around that kind of reaction times. And so I'm all for making 1,000 horsepower the new benchmark, but now you have to put in a new set of rules for like, okay, you have to prove that you can handle this before you buy it.
Might be something to that. I mean, 1,000 horsepower. Think about the Ram TRX or whatever. And since we talked about that a couple of shows ago, I've seen, 6 or 8 on the roads here. And that thing is, 800 horsepower or 1,000 horsepower, something ridiculous.
Like it's 710. And the thing about that TRX, they're really fun from 30 to 70.
Sure.
After that, it's just like any other 8, and it stops at 112 miles an hour. So.
Oh, really? It tops at 112.
What's the point?
They're limited.
Oh.
Reasons because you can't 40 in a truck that big. It's suicide.
Didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah. All right. I don't know. Where do they stop? Like, if we're going with all this electric stuff, but then we're putting out sports cars like the GTD Mustang and the Corvettes with 1,065, and then the 1,089 for the ZR1 or whatever it is. And what are they doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's an engineering flex. Like, it's just engineers saying, look what we did.
Sure.
It's like, we're better than you.
I mean,
my main priority is, but how are people going to be able to drive these cars?
Right. And to that point, a lot of the people that can afford that car are retired, and maybe their reflexes aren't what they used to be, if you know what I mean.
Right. Some YouTuber who's freaking rich, and I was going to take over this car, and he thinks he knows how to drive because he has a simulator in his house. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not the same.
Right.
That's what worries me. Retirees, they drove cars a whole life. They have some understanding. These new kids, these Zoomers, are like, dude, driving on GTA 5 doesn't translate to real world. Like, you're gonna
seat of the pants. Yep. No,
I will say, AMG and Ferrari kind of do that right. You have to graduate.
Yeah, Ferrari, you can only get to basically apply for it.
Yeah, and to get certain models, you have to have owned, like 2 or 3 models before that.
Yeah,
and graduated into that car. Yeah, and does the same thing.
So you have to come up with a license with these kind of cars of a certain horsepower or certain acceleration rates that you have to apply for, be certified.
Yeah, I mean, to drive one, I think maybe there's some validity to having to test that you can actually handle that car. Ferrari doesn't do that because of, the horsepower of the car or the handling. They do it for economic status.
Yeah.
Is all that is. But whatever, it kind of works the same.
You need a licensed vehicle with air brakes, CDL. So
yeah.
Do the same thing for like.
And Porsche kind of walks you up too.
You can't just go into the showroom and buy a GT3 RS if you have the cash. I think you can.
Can you?
I think you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can. Even either way, you can get one on used market.
Yeah, that's for
true
sure.
too.
It's more mass produced than a Ferrari.
Yeah.
All right. I'll bid you guys good night. But it was fantastic. I really enjoyed my time with you guys. So anytime you guys want to do another interview, let me know.
Right on. Thanks, Jesus. You
Absolutely.
take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye. Wow, we went down some rabbit holes. Probably, well, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Gentlemen.
I still want to debate the fucking electric car versus a muscle car.
Well, you have to understand, too, where he's coming from. He can't just,
Plant his flag on one side.
No, he can't do that. Because if he wants to continue reviewing cars, he can't say, no, this is bullshit. They can't do that,
That's why I was curious about.
It can totally be our opinion, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that.
But
That's why I was
it's nice to hear from somebody that is involved with these manufacturers and has met these people working on these cars, because I feel like that is that's how opinions change in general, right? You see both sides, you talk to the people doing it, and I'm sure, and if you see it up in person and listen to it, I'm sure I don't know. I'm not a huge electric car guy, as you guys know, but honestly, I do appreciate at least they're trying to make them cooler.
Yeah.
And not an appliance like a Tesla with a yoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
agree.
I think he had a really good concern too, right? He's from Texas, and one of his comments was, in his apartment complex, there's no charging stations. Right. We live on the West Coast, right? And I'm not going to say every apartment complex on the West Coast has charging stations in them, because that can't be true.
No,
it's not true.
I would say very few have them. If they do, what are they going to have? 4
now, or just the ones that have been built in the last 5 years, and even still, there's 2.
Right,
there's 2 chargers.
Yeah, you got 200 units, and multiple people living in each one. Most likely. And you got 2 charging units for 50 Teslas in the, parking lot.
So, and here's another interesting thing, right? So my wife and I went Sunday to test drive a few cars with our daughter. And one of the cars that she really liked was the Volkswagen Golf electric.
Oh,
no. I haven't even seen one of those
yet. It drove
I've
really nice. It was it drove really nice. It was a decent little car, and it was used, and it wasn't new, it wasn't even a 2020. I think it was like a 2018 or 2017.
Wait a minute. Electric in 2018? I don't think they had that.
Yes.
Look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. One of the concerns that I had when we were sitting there talking to the sales guy was, when it was new, it had 84-mile range.
Okay. Wow.
Right?
Damn.
So
that is awful.
That's a fucking to work and back, and you're done
at best, especially if it's coming up 6 years old.
It's not.
I'm sure the range is depleted.
No, Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Okay. 2026 is the first year it came out. GTI
with the
electric.
This thing was way older. This was
just Golf.
I'm seeing the e-Golf. Yeah. What is?
Okay.
The e-Golf. That's it. Yeah.
E-Golf. And
1981.
I want to say it was a 26. No way.
It was the first. Yeah, they came out with an electric one in 1981.
That is crazy.
Oh my God.
2015. E-Golf came out in 2015.
I think. I think this one was a 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get them.
Range of 83 miles. Fuck, that's terrible.
So, but exactly.
Man.
So imagine that 83 miles from a 2016, being that it's that old, it's not going to get 83 miles.
No, exactly. It's depleted.
Yeah.
And even if you're at 70% of that,
right,
that's literally one time to work and back. And if you live in an apartment complex that doesn't have a charger, you're fucked.
Yep. And then not only that, but just like how if you look at the used market of Teslas, a 10-year-old or, let's say a 12-year-old Model S, even some of the Ds, like the 70D,
right?
They have literally lost 90% of their value in just over 10 years, which is insane.
It's because the batteries are $30,000 to replace.
And I'm looking at that right now, and I'm looking at an article on Slash Gear that says replacing the battery pack on a VW e-Golf costs more than you think, and the price they're talking about is $14,000.
Right.
Or if you go to the dealer, it's $23,000.
Okay, and that car was not that much
for 85 miles of range.
Yeah, I think we could have bought that car for like $8,000.
Damn, even $8,000. I
Sure,
feel like is a little
they're
too
trying
much.
to get out from under it.
Yeah, it was really tempting. But like you said, $14,000 on top of the $10,000 you just spent. That makes it not.
That's a private shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd actually bought that thing, you'd have been hosed. Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally. 100%. It's gonna. Yeah, it just turns into a paperweight essentially.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah, it was interesting, and then it was really interesting going and looking at some of the other dealerships, right, and talking to a couple of the other salesmen, because she liked the e-Golf, so we went to Volkswagen and looked at gas Golfs and the diesel ones and stuff like that. Well, gas and diesel ones are
pricey,
lunacy, on the price. So we got to talking to him, and they had several dealerships that he was part of. So we kind of walked over to one of the other dealerships, and the price difference on a Mazda is insane.
What are we talking? I haven't looked at it.
So I want to say we were looking at a 2020 Mazda 3.
Okay.
And a 2020 Golf, right? So the Golf was like almost $28,000. The Mazda 3 was like $23,000, but it had all the bells and whistles, and it was leather and heated seats and the sunroof and the whole 9 yards. The Golf did not have that.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on what you look at and what you buy.
Right. So similar packages would probably be a difference of over $10,000, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
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 That is a lot of money.
Yeah, if she was looking at the same package in the Golf, it would have been $34,000 car easily.
Yep. And you guys know how I feel about Volkswagens. I mean, and they feel nice, like they drive really good too, but they are just so painful to work on and expensive parts and over-engineered.
Well, yeah, it's a German car, right?
German vehicles, but
yeah. Yeah, the other car we were looking at was the Volvos, and we really quickly moved on from that lot. And then
why is that?
Price, and then I know Volvo doesn't have the greatest track record with transmissions. And I'm one of those people, if the transmission or the check engine light comes on for a transmission problem, I'm going to do a couple of things, and then that son bitch is going down the road.
Right.
So I was kind of pushing for Honda, Toyota, Honda, Toyota, Mazda, something along those lines.
They hold their value. They're reliable.
Yeah. And they're built for people like her.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to check the oil.
Right. And that's, and I hate to say it, guys, but I'm sure most of you guys know, or ladies, whoever's listening out there, women love Euro cars.
Oh, yeah.
But they want to drive it like a CRV.
Yeah.
Just get the CRV.
It doesn't look as cool, Ian. It's not as cool.
No.
It's just not.
100%. She is not the right person for a Euro car.
Right.
Those
Subaru.
things have to have all of the maintenance done on the exact minute that they need to be done, or they're junk. You know, a Honda, you can drive 10,000 miles and forget about it, and replace the oil. Yeah, and they build them like that on purpose.
Exactly.
Right? They're not going to drive 1,000,000 miles in them, but
I don't know. I think if you take care of a Honda, you can get 1,000,000 miles out of it.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I don't know if you can anymore.
I'm sure people are doing it. I mean, getting close, but it's sure going to beat a Mercedes M-Class.
Yeah, 100%.
SUV.
Right. Well, yeah, price wise and
every spectrum.
So let's talk about that for just a minute. Like, what's the expected lifespan of your everyday car anymore? Just your normal commuter car. Say it's a Honda, Subaru.
Well, what Kia's given out?
I think
warranties up to what, 300,000? Some cars.
Powertrain.
Yeah, is it?
I didn't know that.
Or is this something crazy like that?
I mean, it sounds crazy.
I think it's 100.
I thought it was 10-year, 100,000.
Yeah,
which is still shocking.
Yeah.
But I would expect one of those cars to shit the bed at 120.
And that,
if I buy a Honda, I would expect 170, 200 out of it.
Yeah, I think most people are trying to get out of their cars before 200,000 miles. I think that's a fair bet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as you guys know, it's like, you see a 94 Camry on the road every day still.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're 300 or better.
And they got to be over that, yeah. We're about that, over 100,000 for sure.
And so that's a testament to their reliability. But, you know, women don't really care about that.
Right.
Everybody's joining.
No, I just shared screen. I don't know. A Subaru to me is probably good for 100,000, but you might think about getting rid of it before you hit that spot. And then Honda, I don't know, any car to me, honestly. The only vehicles I think are good for easily 300,000 is probably a diesel truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're built for that.
Maintenance is definitely higher cost.
Well, for sure, and especially once you get around the 200,000 mile range, you're going to be doing some heavier maintenance. I've experienced that with my last.
You're going to be putting money.
Yeah, my last F-350, I had to put some money into it. I had 230,000 on it when I sold it. But I had like wheel seals go out and some transmission stuff that was fixable, but you're going to run into those things over 200,000.
How much were you able to sell that for, even with those miles?
Vehicle. I got 10 grand.
Okay.
Yeah. I probably could have pushed it, but I just wanted it gone.
Yeah.
I wanted to upgrade one of the new luxuries. You know how that is.
Yeah.
I know Max is going to hate me for saying this, but Subaru is the last Japanese brand I'd buy.
Yeah.
The last one?
Yeah, that's just reliability issues.
I was going to say
it just constantly rearing their heads.
Yeah.
I think the three I would seriously look at would be Honda, Toyota, and Nissan.
Yeah.
I think Mazda would be on my last list.
Yeah, that's a close last for me too.
And Mitsubishi would probably be.
Oh, okay.
Do they even make cars anymore?
Mitsubishi. I forgot about them. I forgot they're making cars anymore.
I don't know that they do. Mitsubishi.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, for real. I mean, there's a Mitsubishi dealer in Tigard, Oregon, and I drive by that lot all the time, and I don't even see one Mitsubishi there.
Yeah. I'm looking it up.
I could be
I'm doing the Google.
The Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, I think.
Oh,
when the Evo died, the company died. Let's be
SUVs
honest.
though. So 2023, they put out the Outlander.
They're only doing crossovers.
Plug-in hybrid. 24 model. Yeah, they're still making stuff.
So basically, they continued. They just like honed in their auto experience, just like their other stuff. They're just making appliances now. They're making AC units, right? Split systems.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
those are actually pretty good.
and
that's keeping the business afloat.
No, absolutely. They make elevators, as you know, Rob. And I know their elevators are quality. So I'm, it's just their vehicles are kind of just I don't know. They just said
secondary market.
We're just trying to make money. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they still have quite a few, medium duty trucks and stuff like that.
In other countries,
that's
yes.
fair. Yeah.
No, they still
Utility
have 'em here.
trucks. Sure.
I think they stopped making the Raider or whatever they called it. They stopped making that a few years back.
The flat nose, I see all over the place all the time.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
I hadn't really considered that, but yeah, they
And
make a lot of
which
trucks.
model is that?
Fuso?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about commercial trucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. I hadn't really thought about that. All right. Well, I guess that answered my question. You know, what do we think, an average mileage for a car is anymore? I think if you get in the 200,000 mile range on a passenger car, you got lucky.
You're doing pretty good.
You got a good one.
Yep. Yeah. These days. Yeah.
I don't want to ask but I'm going to.
Do it.
What about the electric cars? What are we supposed to expect out of
80,000.
Well,
you're done.
Like I was saying earlier, let's look at the Model S, right? Like the first very mass-produced electric car. I mean, generally, right? I think we can all agree on that was the E1 when it came out in whatever it was, 2011 or 2010 maybe. And, how many miles do they go before you got to put a $30,000 battery into it? Average.
Right.
I'm sure it's not as much as a Toyota Camry.
No. Well,
and then when you do, let's say you did throw a rod in a Camry, you're not spending $30,000 to replace the heartbeat.
No. Well, what was it? I read somewhere after 15 years, you've got about 70% of the original battery capability.
Oh, I expected that. Yeah, that's
70% is
that's
15 years is pretty good. I just did a quick Google. And it didn't answer my question exactly, but it did say the government mandates the EV manufacturers warranty batteries for 8 years or 100,000 miles.
Well, that's
it
good.
doesn't.
That's good.
That's a warranty for the battery, but it doesn't say how much
what's
battery
the
depletion there is in that amount of time.
Yeah.
So maybe the
right.
battery's still working, but it's only got 50% capacity.
And it's probably going to act worse in different, in cold weather at that point.
They do not like cold weather. Like for a guy in Arizona, Josh, an electric car might not be a bad idea.
I mean, how does heat act with them, though?
Heat's better than cold.
Heat is better than cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
True.
If it gets too cold, it can't even take a charge.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Now imagine you live in Oregon and you wanted to drive over to the east side of the mountain, in December or January.
I wouldn't do it. You're going to be stuck on top of the mountain.
I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And then, you're sitting there in an ice cube.
Yeah,
right.
Essentially.
You got your goddamn generator strapped to the hood of the car.
I love those pictures when you see the guy with the generator in the back of his Tesla plugged in as he's driving down the road.
I didn't see that.
Charge and go.
So green.
That generator gets better mileage than
than the car itself. Yeah.
100%. I don't disagree with Jesus's theory that cars should
be hybrid.
They
utilize
could
the
be
diesel and charge
have
itself.
some sort of a way to charge.
Well, I mean, at that point, what'd you say, Josh?
Yeah, have like that diesel engine on board and the ability to charge itself.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But it's at that point, Jeremy, it's no longer an electric car.
It's hybrid.
It's a hybrid.
Now it's a hybrid. But like Jesus said, if you get more mileage out of it in general, well, that's the whole idea, right? We all want to get more mileage, make our dollars go further. And then, you see a lot. I've seen a lot of articles in the last couple years, where we're talking about synthetic fuels, and it's like still running internal combustion engines, but if we came up with something besides dino juice,
right,
that's a game changer. We wouldn't need electric,
like rapeseed oil,
something. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how well they're doing it with that, with synthetic fuels, but what's the pollution rate with the synthetic fuel versus dino juice, right?
I think we're going to see, that's a really good point. I think we're going to see a lot more of it because I've seen articles of Toyota investing in it, Porsche too. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the next few years, like hard numbers, and maybe it'll pan out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see that personally, because we've gotten pollution levels, at least on passenger vehicles and, civilian vehicles, down to basically
low.
nothing,
next to nothing
compared to what they were 40 years
and
ago.
with the demand of electric cars and this whole carbon neutral thing, you're really pushing that down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Now,
are electric cars any more carbon neutral than?
in the grand scheme, that's a great question, because that one's hotly debated as well. In the manufacturing, the mining process, and all the other things that go into actually building it, and then when you throw it away, that's
right.
It's a big question.
Well, and how many?
I think it's pretty much been. I mean, we could Google it, but I think it's pretty much been proven that it doesn't make much of a difference, really, and you're actually being more, environmentally conscious by buying a used ICE car,
yeah,
and running for another 100,000 miles.
So, the electric. Where is electric made?
What do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
I think like % of electricity in the United States is still diesel or coal.
It's coal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coal. And so, so you're charging this vehicle with, coal electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds good on paper, right? Like,
you're just exporting where the fossil fuel is burned.
Just moving it around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's a game of, kind of smoke. It's kind of smoke and mirrors. Smoke, no pun intended, but.
And then in the summertime, when people in California are trying to charge their cars, they're causing huge power outages.
No, going back to that fuel question there, do you think the new synthetic fuel will really make a breakthrough, being that we're so deep in the oil business, and the automakers are just so married up into oil that
I absolutely think that we're going to see a big push in it, and the reason being is, you just said it, big oil companies, they don't want to lose out on their honey hole.
Yeah.
So they're gonna try to push they're gonna push a way to create fuel doesn't involve pulling it out of the ground.
Yeah, biodiesel's already bigger than you think it is.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah, I don't know if most of you guys know this, but so the Fords, they recommend using B20 or less, right? B20 is 20% biodiesel.
Yes.
If you go to most Chevrons,
they got a B5.
B50.
No. If you go to most Chevrons in Oregon, they're B55 or above.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I did drive by a station today that said they were hyping themselves up. They had a B5. It's not far from here.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
And was it expensive?
It was cheaper than regular diesel at the place across the street.
Weird.
I just hit one recently that was B50, and I was like, well, I'm stuck. I got to fill up. I was like, one tank's not going to kill me.
Yeah.
But yeah, normally where I get it, it's, I think it's 10, which is decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do have to watch it. You can't fill up regularly in your Ford at above, I think it's, what did you say, B20? 20%?
Yeah, it's B20 is what the manual says.
It rots the tanks out too, because the bio stuff, it has more water in it, more water content. It's not actual water, but whatever.
Sure.
Kind of like ethanol, it's watery fuel.
So do you know what diesel motors, when they were invented, what they were invented to run on?
Vegetable oil.
Kerosene?
I don't know.
It was
propane.
Vegetable oil.
Vegetable
okay.
oil.
Yeah.
It was the vegetable oil that they were.
I did a quick Google for
great.
the electricity, what most of our electricity. So in the U.S., 43% of our electricity is natural gas, which is still really high, and it's still burning a gas. Across the world, coal is still the majority for making electricity, but 43% natural gas in the United States, supplemented by hydroelectric, solar, and wind.
So
how much is wind, though?
I don't know. I don't have that number.
Did it say what the percentage of diesel, what the percentage of coal?
Nope.
And
no, didn't get a breakdown. I probably could if I specified in the search, but anyway.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what those are, because 40% natural gas, that's pretty good. Natural gas does burn a little bit cleaner. I don't think they burn as efficiently as.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're doing to, are they heating water and creating steam and making electricity? I don't know how they're doing it exactly. Spinning turbines, or, how efficient is it? Probably not a 1-to-1. So,
no,
but maybe it's more efficient than diesel. Maybe it's more efficient than coal.
I would be interested.
It's cleaner, but
cleaner.
Anyway, we're a far cry off from project cars at this moment.
Jesus,
I know.
Way side.
It's not a bad topic to discuss, though. Electricity is so interjected in cars now.
It really is. I'm wondering, because we are on election season, and I'm not going to get political or go one side or the other, but you got to wonder if the new administration, one side or the other, will change what we're doing with the mandates for electric cars, the mandates to be all electric by 2030 and shit like that. Because I've already heard rumblings.
Like California.
Yeah, I've already heard rumblings that they're going to start pushing that stuff back. And I think Jesus said something about that as well, or somebody did during that conversation.
I think they have to.
It feels like they have to.
Yeah,
we don't have the infrastructure for it. I've harped on that before. It's just not there. What are we supposed to do here?
Yeah.
And all it's going to do is create a stronger used car market and take away from the new manufacturers. Because I know in California, they won't, you can't sell a new used or a new car with an ICE engine after 2030. Right. I think they're going for, which is crazy. It
is crazy. Yeah.
So all that's going to do is create a stronger used car market, and take away from the manufacturers. You're not helping the manufacturers.
Start buying up used cars now and selling them to California.
Well, and then you saw the issue with you hear about that tax. So they're not getting enough.
No, I didn't.
They're not getting enough taxes, so they're charging like a road tax or a travel tax.
Oh, yeah. Electric cars don't pay the tax on fuel. So, they're charging now some other excise tax of whatever for roads and this and that. And I mean,
which is insane, because we already pay taxes for roads.
Oh, yeah. Well, you pay taxes every time you fill up, too, per gallon.
Well, part of your fuel consumption is.
So the cars that don't fill aren't paying that tax, in which, the rest of us are paying here in Oregon, it's 60 cents a gallon in the metro area.
And in Washington, it's worse.
Yeah. Every state's a little bit different. Every county is a little bit different. But
that's true. Yeah.
So electric vehicles don't pay that.
Yeah. And then I think, as we were talking about earlier, too, the potential rolling brownouts or blackouts in California. I mean, that's already a thing right now during the summertime when people, flip on the AC. So what are you going to do when you have, 66% of this state, charging their vehicle too?
Yeah. No.
It's really just not optional yet.
No infrastructure. Again.
In theory, it's nice to say, everybody's got electric cars. It's cool. But it doesn't work. So basically what's going to happen is people just won't be able to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
I wonder if.
So I got one other electric
question.
Ahead. How pissed would you be if you were charging your car in the garage and it burnt the fucking house down?
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's happened quite a few times.
Yeah, you see some stories on that.
Happens more often than you think.
I'd imagine. Yeah, no, that would be. I don't think I'd ever buy an electric car again.
Actually, does that change? That change homeowners insurance? Like, do they start factoring, or do they already factor in that? Like, hey, you got an electric car at any moment in time that can
I don't know.
combust and burn your place down?
If it hasn't already, it's going to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to have to ask my mother because she's got a Tesla.
Yeah, and any listeners out there, please chime in because I'm curious to know if that's even an option because,
So
you don't have it and that happens, you're pretty much screwed, right? I mean, I guess it would be considered an electrical fire, but it's not on the house.
Electrical car fire. I mean, pretty rare you can have a short in a car that catches on fire in your garage and burn it down, but probably more rare than electric car. Those batteries, you just don't know when they short out. I just did a quick search on it and it doesn't have an exact number. It says there has been several reported instances, but it's hard to pinpoint the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen articles about, firefighters complaining about just putting these fires out.
Yeah. Yeah, because they just keep going.
So I'm sure it's happening, but...
You have to submerge them, otherwise they don't. And even submerging them
still
doesn't
burn.
stop
Yeah.
them.
Well,
they still burn.
Well,
there, I got a picture.
Oh, there we go.
During
and there it is, the Model 3.
Model 3.
Who would have thought?
Oh, that poor guy's golf cart.
Now, right?
He probably liked
That's
that
the
thing
travesty.
more. Yeah.
Imagine he's got a Tesla wall in there too.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
That's another battery that's twice the size of the one in the car.
that just sucks. Oof.
Right?
Poor guy.
But I'm not shocked, to be honest.
No.
Yep. All right. That website sucked, but I'm glad you guys could see that too. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really don't have a whole lot more for tonight, and I've been under the weather for the last 3 weeks, still trying to get over this stupid cold. I think we should call it
mine's still lingering too.
It's kind of rough. So thanks again to Jesus Garcia. Check out his website, Jesus Behind the Wheel. A bunch of good articles, great car content. He's got a Facebook page as well. It's Jesus R. Garcia, Jesus R. Garcia on Facebook. Check out our Facebook at Untitled Car Project, and we have a group. You can check out some of the posts and hit follow on that. Follow the podcast, share it, give us a 5-star review. All the good things help us build our empire. Build our little empire.
And
let us know about SEMA.
If you're going to SEMA, come on.
Yeah, through. You know what? If you are going, shoot us a message through Messenger or something. Let's connect. That'd be really cool. So that's all I've got for this evening. Anybody got anything else? No, sir. Right on. Okay. Well, thanks everyone, and have a good night.
Thanks for joining, Josh.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me on.
Right on.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.